I haven't watched a video, a Moist video in a while because it's something in my algorithm, but I'll watch it. Is this a correct start place or not?
Been like a talking point from anyone besides pirates. Do you know why? You know what this is right here, pal. Ah, tough guy. You feeling lucky?
Dogs?
Yeah, that's right. Spirit fingers. Do you know why? Because it's been about 30 hours since I last slept, and I've done 3 different intros, all of which crash and burned, and I am off my gourd, so now I'm going wacko mode.
Chat, I want to see what this is about, though. It could be a good topic.
In my sleep-deprived state, I am...
2 minutes? Okay.
Though this is my first video, that it was aiming to do good for consumers.
Oh, go back. Let's go back then.
Wasn't going as well as I thought it was. Admittedly, I didn't follow how successful the initiative was, only that it was aiming to do good for consumers, and that it was taking proper steps legally to get there, and it was going through all of the right channels. And now today I watched a video from the guy that's spearheading this. His name is Ross. He posted a video called The End of Stop Killing Games, where he's giving an update on where everything's at and how it's kind of at the finish line here with a lot of failure to show for it, with only a few
Stop killing games?
Other chances to fight back. Now, before getting into the weeds on the topic, I want to get this in the beginning because I imagine the vast majority of people won't watch the whole thing. I'm putting a link to the full video on...
Chat, I feel like most, if not every movement in the games are shit and end up crashing and burning, and I think it's probably safer to ignore all of them.
Stop Killing Games, as well as a link to where you'd go to help support the Stop Killing Games initiative, because there's only a little bit of time left for the most important parts of it now that it's at the end. So if you know what the movement is and want to support it but didn't know where, the resources are in the description, or if you want to get it right from like the source, I have a link to his video. But I want to go into it myself here because it is a topic that I do feel very strongly about. But for those that don't know anything about Stop Killing Games, I'm going to let him explain it in his own words, so that way you can get an actual, correct, informed explanation of what the initiative is.
Charlie.
Thank you for saying it like that. Kind of,
I'm in my foot while he does that.
You know, pinky out, you know, snooty. Is because a lot of people don't even really know what this is because of people like Pirate Software completely misrepresenting what the initiative was.
As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers.
I'll pause right there. The simplest, bare-bones, birthday suit, butt-ass naked explanation for what this is. Stop destroying things that people have paid money to own. I think that is a very understandable, very reasonable take, very agreeable. Now I want to quickly jump to a different spot in this video because I think it's important to have this in the beginning because it's something a lot of people have heard that comes from someone that is just wrong about it. It's the Pirate Software portion. Ross is addressing the video Pirate Software made many months ago. Ross even says that he didn't plan on doing that because he didn't want to be seen as using this for drama farming, because it would start to make the movement look less of like a legitimate initiative and more of just like drama slop content type thing. But he finally starts talking about Pirate Software here because it's at the end of the life cycle of this initiative and it's not looking promising, so he's willing to do anything to try and set the record straight and hopefully start getting more momentum back to the movement because the damage Pirate Software did to it through his video was substantial.
This video came out right as we were building momentum, then except for one boost in Germany, the signature started drying up like clockwork. Ford does not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically, we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them. And as much as they want it to be about specifically games, where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists, instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. It's the first line on the website.
Something in the consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers.
xQcL.
Okay, chat, I will say though, chat, this is a little bit ambiguous though, chat, because what do you consider to be sold to a customer? Chat, if I sell you a game where you can kind of let's say what? I'll keep reading. So they as goods with no stated expiration date, but designed to be completely unplayable as soon as the support feature ends. This practice is a form of plan. Okay, I agree with that. I'll agree with that. I will agree that this is bad. This is bad. If a game can be played solo, if the dev pull out, you should still be able to play it solo. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right. He missed all the QTEs and got the bad ending on understanding the initiative from the jump here. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just single-player only games that require an online connection, that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game. Like, yeah, that is included in all of this, but that's not, like, what the whole movement is about. And for some reason, Pirate Software is stun-locked on that, like, fixated, as if that is the actual, like, meat and potatoes of Stop Killing Games. They need to be more specific in their language about it being single-player, always online connectivity games. When that's just not what it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that because that is not what they are specifically targeting. It is
most people like me, chat, are fucking ADHD Andes. Most people, even you, chat. And it's best. It'd be good, Jeff, for this guy's website or this guy's cause if you explained one example off the rip. Like when this does that. And okay, most people are going to get it. People like me, we're not going to read it. And then, boom, insta picture video. And then, boom, what I mean, he did. I'm just saying, it should be in the front page. All right, bang.
It's about the whole practice of destroying games that consumers have already purchased and having no end-of-life plans for games that are being sunset. So, for example, The Crew. The Crew is an example everyone is going to reference and talk about because Ubisoft is still currently in a lawsuit battling against it for what happened with this game. I've yapped about it quite a bit, so I'm not just going to regurgitate that. I'm sure a lot of you already know the story about it. But
okay, how about take an example of a game that's like more popular that people know? Because guys, if you get an obsolete team or obsolete game, I mean, bro, I don't know. What is The Crew?
Basically, you buy The Crew. Ubisoft pulls the plug on the servers, you can't play The Crew anymore, now it's just an old wet dream of what once was. And they are facing a lawsuit, and while this is in the umbrella of Stop Killing Games, it is not the only thing Stop Killing Games is referencing when it comes to this practice. Pirate Software is so hung up on it being single-player games that people lose access to, when that is a component of it, but not the entire focus.
Well, the short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support. So that's one thing Thor doesn't understand, but he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single-player.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game.
Oh, so basically, chat, this is for people, chat, like me, who bought Concord, and I want to speedrun on the map, on the arena map, from back to forth. I want to practice my speedrunning a bit in the Concord, but shut down servers, so I bought it, and I can't even practice my speedrunning strat. Is that what you're saying?
Into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single-player, rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're...
Yeah, but why is this guy making arguments and examples of games this doesn't apply to? Is he fighting ghosts or what?
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No.
This part is more confusing than Finnegan's Wake, because nowhere in anything on Stop Killing Games has this even been like a talking point from anyone besides Pirate Software. I don't know where he pieced this puzzle together. Like I don't get it. Like if I'm gonna try and like really reach here and give like a charitable explanation for this.
Let me guess, chat. It's because Pirate Software chat. He was reading chat, and his puzzle stylist got it mixed up. He didn't read the prompt properly. And he read the puzzle stylist, which he always refers to in his videos and in his playthroughs, and he got it wrong, dude. It's classic. It's classic. It's not even his fault.
Maybe he's extrapolating based on the idea that if publishers have to have end-of-life plans for their games, that includes MMOs, where once the game is getting sunset, you're pulling the plug on it, you would then need to turn the game over to the community in a playable state, an accessible state, like give the code to them. Thus, it turned it into a single-player experience, so the onus would be on the developers to rebalance their game to be a single-player experience for them. I guess. I have no idea. That still just doesn't make any sense, but maybe that's the tree he's barking up with that thought process. I really don't know, because Stop Killing Games...
Chat. There should be a list of examples that are massive for this movement to, like, show, and I would be going, yep, I agree with this. But now, I don't even know.
At no point ever says any of these multiplayer games need to be converted to single player. That really is outlandish. And the more I think about it, like, the more nonsensical it becomes, because even in Pirate Software's hypothetical fanfic there, why would the developers need to rebalance the game? They would just turn over the code to the community and just it'd be in that state. They're no longer responsible for balancing the game. That's the whole point. They're not indefinitely...
Incorrect. This is dangerous. You would never want to transfer the code. Guys, people get the code, and then it transforms the game and the IP into something that it's not, and it can be very dangerous for a game and franchise. And they can steer the IP in a way that literally it ends up backfiring to the people that made the game initially, to where the bad part becomes bigger than what the game was before. Why do you think, dude? That's chat. That's imagine chat if there was no censoring or monitoring to Warcraft 3 minigames, and the biggest minigame that Warcraft 3 has was like some super racist like Nazi simulator or whatever, and it became bigger than all the other games on the. That's crazy. Blizzard would have become absolutely fucking boned hard. They would never do that. That's crazy.
Supporting it. they would just be responsible of leaving the game in an accessible state to the community while they would shut down the servers on their end. Like, they wouldn't need to go back through with a whole development team and, like, you know, tweak the game to be single-player compatible. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I really do not understand that one. But apparently a lot of people latched onto that talking point from Pirate Software as something that Stop Killing Games was asking for, and how unreasonable it...
Okay, check out the trap, guys. I set up a trap chat, an argument trap, just for you. Dota is bigger than Warcraft 3 by a long shot, right? Dota was initially only in Warcraft 3, right? So imagine if there was a problem, there was something crazy about that, right? At the time, how much it would have damaged Blizzard, and they would never do that. Imagine if they lost control of that. That's outlandish. It's outlandish.
It was. Which, if that's what Stop Killing Games was asking for, it would be unreasonable. But that's not what it's asking for.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague, and because of that, it will impact.
He never has that light bulb moment. Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for.
I know this part is once again just reinforcing that he doesn't know what the Stop Killing Games movement is about, but I have to just show you this because it is so fascinating, because he himself literally calls out that Stop Killing Games at no point explicitly mentions single-player always-online games or anything like that. And for some reason, instead of following the breadcrumbs that would naturally lead him to the conclusion of, oh, maybe I misunderstood, maybe, because it's absent here, that's not what this is actually about. Instead, he uses it as a criticism against the Stop Killing Games initiative entirely, saying it's just too vague, it's way too vague. The reason it is not explicitly stated there is because that is not what the whole initiative is about. It is not specifically targeting that thing that you keep saying that it is. I don't know how that never clicked.
But those were his streams with a smaller audience. What does he say in his big YouTube video with over 1 million views that he had time to research?
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future...
now he's changed it again as making up how it's about single-player games are advertised. What is he doing?
It needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game.
Chat, he's never wrong, okay? He's gonna have a take. Chat, he has the online take, the video take, the apology take, the after take, the psychologist take, and it's always wrong. But he was never wrong though. He was right the whole time. He just didn't get it. You didn't get it though.
Adding online-only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all.
This is a really strong section from Ross here because
and if you're right,
the
you're
clips that you
documented
saw
and
moments
banned.
ago were from his stream. When he took more time to watch it and digest it, he still came back in that video misrepresenting it. Like, it never dawned on him. Like, on stream he could write it off as like, oh, he didn't grasp it at the moment, maybe later on he did. Well, then he made the video where he still was talking about things that are just not what Stop Killing Games was about, and this was the one that really blew up and really started to kind of dismantle the Stop Killing Games momentum.
If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now. We're not against them existing, we're against them being destroyed with no recourse for the customer.
Pirate Software then goes on to talk about like the business practice of misleading consumers into thinking that what they're buying is a product as opposed to a license to a product, which is a totally separate thing. And
that legality is brain dead. Everybody knows this already, chat. Guys, the games you buy, you don't own shit. You're cucked out of all it. That's a problem in its own. But usually devs are pretty good about that, and they don't fuck you over, but they can fuck you over. And I think that's what they're trying to do, to like not fuck you over if there's some sort of.
He criticizes Stop Killing Games for not being specific about that thing that he is bringing up, as opposed to what Stop Killing Games is talking about, so he's using that against them for some reason. And then Ross goes into, like, the license talk.
Our problem is not with licenses failing to inform people. Blizzard says they can take away your purchase for no reason. That sounds pretty clear to me. Our problem is those terms are so hostile to consumers and the medium that they should be taken off the table entirely. This needs regulation. Forget video games. If you look at basic commerce for hundreds of years, when you paid money, you either got to keep what you paid for, or if it was a service, you were told when your access ends. The vast majority of online-only games do neither of those.
You're exactly right.
Chat, remember last time, chat, when I got VAC banned for a game that I lost access to? Diabolical. Brother, I got VAC banned in Marauders. The servers were not even online, dude. Holy shit,
dude. It's a huge problem. Now, Pirate Software is correct here about these companies that will mislead consumers through this fraudulent advertising on what you're actually buying, because in a lot of cases, you don't own any of the shit that you are buying. It is pretty much a rental. You get a permission slip to access the content. That is an issue, and not making it abundantly clear to consumers that that was your that is what you are buying is a problem. And so too is the actual agreements, as Ross demonstrates with Blizzard, where it says they can just completely terminate it for no reason at all. It really does go against the basic idea of commerce entirely. Video games are in a totally different ball game when it comes to that, because half the time you don't realize that you're just buying an admission ticket to a game. You're not actually buying the game. You also don't know how long that's going to last.
Chat, is there legal liabilities for companies if they tell you that you own a copy of the game or whatever? like going forward? What maybe something happens to the platform? Maybe something happens to the they could be sued for a lot. No, guys, I'm just saying, if Blizzard says you own this game, but dude, somehow the fucking shit goes that like BattleNet shuts down, they have to move somewhere else, and you lose access to your game. I mean, dude, in the EU.
Again, to go back to Concord, that shit lasted less than a fucking, fucking rainstorm, basically. Like, there is just...
It's the EU Giga Chat, but the things that help you in EU, also, in other ways, fuck you over is some other laws. Brother, that shit is cooking your brain sideways. And whenever you catch a win, you go, EU Giga Chat, EU Giga Chat. Brother, you are in pure soy land. Like, relax,
so many problems. So I don't know why Pirate Software would be so harsh on Stop Killing Games for not addressing specific things that he himself is bringing up or making up in regards to it. It just doesn't compute. It really is a video that did significant damage to an actually positive initiative that aimed to help consumers in the video game space. All based on his complete misrepresentation of it, which was a complete mess.
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not want to run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
Oh no! He wheeled out that line about publishers having to support the game forever. He was literally watching the video earlier.
Oh.
Where it says it won't do that in big letters. That wasn't enough. We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out.
That's the last clip I want to show from this section.
By the way, chat, guys, I have a Steam Deck now, and I have a lot of games on my Steam Deck. If one day, any of my games, I can't play offline by myself or whatever, I'm suing. I'm suing for billions of dollars. That's all I ask for.
Software video
I can play on my Steam Deck.
This is something a lot of people also think the Stop Killing Games initiative is about, where developers, publishers will have to support their games forever. Like, until the fucking heat death of the universe, they'll have to support these games under the initiative. When that is not the case. It is very simply asking that when the game has reached the end of its life cycle, the publishers, developers don't want to work on it any longer, to turn it over to the community to still be in a playable, accessible state so the product can still exist. There is some more nuance, obviously, to how that works, given, like, publisher developer licensing and a lot of like the code, the binary.
Last one,
play under the hood.
Is it going to be so bad that their future generation families will have to pay your generation of families, and you have like this chat? Can you do that or not? No, that's crazy.
There, of course, but it is something that Stop Killing Games isn't naive to, and it is something that is talked about. But I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I encourage you to check more in on it. But this whole belief that it is about endlessly supporting a live service game, even when it makes no sense to do so and it's beyond dead and in the dirt, is ridiculous, because that is not what it is asking for. And a lot of people think that it is. It's not. Pirate Software got that wrong as well. Anyway, I'll stop yapping about it, but as mentioned in the beginning, most of Stop Killing Games hasn't been successful in getting change. And Ross has dedicated so much of his life to this, and it's clearly taken a big toll. Now he's doing everything he can for this last-ditch push to try and help. And there are two big things coming up that can do so. And it's what I linked at the very beginning of the at the very beginning of the video about the resources in the description. It's in regards to this.
One is for the UK to sign a government petition to bring this issue before Parliament.
Chat, is there a list of games? Chat, chat, yes, for now, I'm on the neutral side. I don't really care that much about this movement. No problem, though. I'm not being rude about it. Is there a list of games that like, oh yeah, I got fucked over on that. I'm actually annoyed about that. So I want to watch this.
Glowing.
Chat, chat. He did a update video.
You can tell probably just from my voice alone and this striking smile. So what is the secret to this newfound happiness of mine? The one trick doctors don't want you to know? I haven't been online as much. I've been going outside far more frequently, spending time in the real world. And as such, I'm sure many of you have noticed over the last 10 or 11 months, internet drama hasn't been a huge focal point of the channel because I haven't seen a whole bunch of it. I haven't kept up with the vast majority of it. And of course, occasionally I'd still dip my tootsies in some of it, like if there's something particularly wacky going on, and I still cover like news and crazy shit going on with aliens and all of that kind of thing, or if there's like a really cringe, prankster that got arrested or something, I'll still talk about that.
Chat.
But it's not like a fixation for me.
Chat, low-key, him moving away from drama, chat, I think it's my time to shine, man. Thoughts about that?
Like it used to be over the last few years where I was covering any and all internet creator space hoopla. And I want to keep it that way. I'm having a lot more fun not doing that. That being said, there is something that has unfolded here that's like the John Wick killing the dog moment that's bringing me back, just very temporarily. And it's Pirate Software. Yesterday I talked about Stop Killing Games, and there's no way to talk about Stop Killing Games without also mentioning Pirate Software because of the profound effect he has had on that initiative in its demise. I say demise, but it's not actually true, but it has been on life support, and Pirate Software did play a big role in that because of 2 videos he made, as well as a stream, shitting all over it. And that's not even doing it justice. He was full-blown tooting on this. He was shitting on it with some fart on top. And a lot of what he was saying about Stop Killing Games wasn't accurate. It was a misrepresentation.
Chat, even though I agreed with Most Critical, I gotta be honest with you, I think sometimes these movements, like one guy making a bad comment over a video, whatever, it doesn't really do much. If anything, in the past I've seen like positive outcomes out of people like kind of shitting on something with their big channel.
Of the initiative. And the guy behind it, the guy spearheading it, Ross, finally set the record straight on a lot of the misconceptions that Pirate Software helped to put out there and kind of exacerbate these thought processes that just weren't accurate for what the initiative was actually aiming to do. He finally set the record straight, and I, of course, wanted to talk about it as someone who does actually care about it. Now, as I've said, I've been a little more off the grid. I bought a fucking farm, so I've been, living off the Lord's land recently, and I've missed a lot of the internet happenings. So Pirate Software's previous anime arcs of drama, like with World of Warcraft, and the one after that, 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 I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to. I only got little tiddlywinks, little morsels of lore about it in a few clips, so I never really even understood what was going on there. So Pirate Software's response to everything that happened yesterday really caught me by surprise. That was a subversion of my expectations, bigger than Game of Thrones Season 8.
Yeah, Hutcher, I did. I think it's really hilarious to me that that entire community is so butt mad at me for putting out a video 10 months ago about their stuff, and then not being refuted, and now it's my fault that everything is going wrong for them.
I cannot believe his ego. His ego is so out of control, I feel like he's only a week or two away from exclusively referring to himself in third person, like Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin. And that's the truth, because Pirate Software said so. Some shit like that. It's crazy how he's responded. The smugness is nails on a chalkboard. It just makes you feel icky listening to it. And he goes on that same talking point multiple times in the clip about how, like, oh, I guess I'm fully to blame. I guess because I made those videos 10 months ago, it's my fault entirely that this whole thing crashed and burned. Yep, oh boy, time to play a sad song on the world's smallest violin for the Stop Killing Games movement, all because Big Bad Pirate Software took it all down by himself. Like, it's crazy. No one's saying that. Like, there's no one out there that is saying it's entirely Pirate Software's fault that Stop Killing Games hasn't been more successful in its endeavors. But there's irrefutable evidence that you had a detrimental effect, a majorly damaging effect on Stop Killing Games because of your misinformation that you spread about it in 2 videos and across all your streams, and not once have you bothered to correct that record. And he has said that it hasn't been refuted in 10 months. That is fish paste. That is turbo horseradish. Go to your own comment section on your videos to see everyone refuting you, as well as the innumerable other gamers and voices out there that have taken down those talking points and debunked a lot of them and proven that you just didn't understand it. And that is the big problem. No one hates Pirate Software because he doesn't agree with Stop Killing Games. The reason so many people are angry at him, myself included here, you can disagree with the movement all you want. If you don't like the initiative, I'm not your fucking dad. You make your own choices there. But the reason so many people, myself included, do not like how Pirate Software is handling all this is he is refusing, outright refusing, to just admit any level of fault, that he was wrong about anything. And that couldn't be more clear from these clips as well as his tweets that he's made. It's actually his tweets that really sent me off the fucking rails here, off my gourd. Let's start with this little nugget here that he deleted from last night. So he tweeted directly at Ross, the guy behind Stop Killing Games, talking about how he made those videos 10 months ago, and since then, his community has been nothing but hateful. A scourge. A fucking tyrannid threat that he must destroy. Your community is fucking rabid, and it's shit to deal with for anyone on the other side of the argument. Why do you think I haven't talked about this shit in 10 months? Why do you think we auto-mute anyone bringing it up in chat? Because it's been rage bait and shit-flinging the entire time. And just goes on about, like, how he is the victim of Ross's toxic, terrible community, which is hilariously hypocritical coming from Pirate Software, when in his videos and his streams, he makes it very clear and is very rude about how much he dislikes not only Ross, but the movement. And it's not like he's being very professional and polite about it, buttoned up. Listen to it.
So this was my first encounter of him.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. Now, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I dropped the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that.
Nice mask off.
The whole thing. That sounds stupid
Fuck,
as
I tried
shit.
to give her
Yeah, I'm sure it's Ross and his community that are actually the assholes here. Brother, come on, you can't possibly be calling the wambulance with a side of French fries here about people being mean to you when you are literally the one that started the shit flinging and name calling? And by the way, Ross never even addressed this for 10 months because he didn't want to dilute the initiative into just having it be boiled down to drama between creators, which I think was actually very big of him. The only reason he's talking about it now is because it's at the end of its life and so many people still don't understand it because of someone like Pirate Software misrepresenting it. So he's finally setting the record straight there. Anyway, he did delete that tweet, but just a little while ago he made a new tweet, a very long tweet as well as a series of tweets under it in regards to this whole thing. And in all these words, all this mumbo-jumbo, not once does he say he was wrong about anything. In fact, he just continues to double down, even proudly stating he is doubling down. Wow, how incredibly noble, doubling down on things you are provably, blatantly wrong about. We don't need to hit the Jumbotron for the replay on yesterday's video going over so many of the things that he was incorrect about.
Bro, hold on. Bro, listen. Don't say you. I don't do that, okay? Yes, sometimes I get mauled, okay? But I don't mind conceding a point, and you can still be right about a lot of points and make a few concessions. Only debate lords and cuck lords do this shit where they refuse to give it any sort of a thing back. Like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
About in regards to the initiative, but the point is that is an issue
I can see
that
all the
I really
time.
thought that he would address, be like, hey, yeah, I did get this part wrong. You're right, guys. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to misrepresent it. I still don't fully agree with it, but I do recognize that I had some errors here in my coverage. That's what I was expecting. That is not what we got. And it prompted me to reach out directly to him, to talk to him, to see, like, why isn't he acknowledging that? Is there a reason? Like, what is going on there?
I give some good...
So I did. He made it very clear he was not very happy with my coverage of Stop Killing Games, which is fine. I think that's totally fine. I'm not going to leak DMs or really go in depth on our private conversation, but the point of me reaching out to him was to talk about his refusal to acknowledge that he did, maybe unintentionally, misrepresent Stop Killing Games, and it led to a just shy of 2 hours, like, circular argument that ultimately got us nowhere. He was more focused on his qualms with Stop Killing Games and really liked to challenge me to prove him wrong about some of his hang-ups with it. And when I would mention, like, the behavior aspect, like, hey, you did misrepresent it, and I'd give him a timestamp, he'd then instead say how I'm wrong for thinking that he misrepresented it. We got nowhere. So I want to just...
Yeah, here I was, waiting for him to leak the free interaction that they had in DMs. And we're not going to get that. That's crazy.
Publicly say this again. There are plenty of things you can disagree with when it comes to the Stop Killing Games initiative. I'll put links to it if you want to learn more about it, and you can form your own opinions on it if you want to support it. If you don't like it, that's fine. That's super normal. And I didn't reach out to try and champion that Pirate Software should become, a huge ambassador of Stop Killing Games, out there on the fucking front lines fighting for it. It had nothing to do with that. It was simply about the misunderstanding that he showcased, maybe unintentionally, and the misrepresentation of it that he broadcast, again, maybe unintentionally, which has in turn, over the course of 10 months, misled people on what...
You know what? I'm sick of the internet requiring people to say sorry or be accountable. Number one, I agree with you, right? A lot of times, dude, you can make a concession without saying I'm sorry. You can say,
love you, man.
I didn't see that. That makes it different, right? I was speaking more about this. It's not really an apology. You acknowledge some shit. It's whatever. Like, you don't. I think it's okay to people demand some form of like recurbing. It's not the end of the world. It's not a. I think demanding apology is annoying as fuck. I hate that shit.
What the fuck Stop Killing Games even is in the first place, which I found to be a problem because he's never even acknowledged that as something that has happened. And because he refuses to acknowledge that, and anyone that even, like, tiptoes around that subject, he kind of treats as though they're fucking idiots like me for thinking that he's misrepresented something. Now, he did just post a tweet where he said he talked to me and Josh Strife Hayes, and in that tweet, this will prove how useless our conversation was, unfortunately, there's not a single peep about misrepresenting what Stop Killing Games was about. It's more so about how the public just doesn't understand game development, and it kind of reads, to me, Like we're all just too stupid to understand it from his side of things. Our conversation basically amounted to toy.
Does the guy make games though? I don't get it, chat. Why is he so up in arms about defending corporate like behaviors? Is he corporate or something or what?
Toilet paper, unfortunately. Again, I was focused on, you have done this, maybe unintentionally, you should at least say that you have, or like, you know, are you aware that you did this? And then it became more of like, nope, I didn't. You're wrong. And then he uses our conversation at the start of this for something that was not even the focus. I was not there to try and convince him to be part of Stop Killing Games. I don't think we made any ground on, like, his perspective versus mine on Stop Killing Games. He has some qualms about how difficult it would be in certain cases. I agree with that, for sure. I still think overall Stop Killing Games is a net positive for the gaming industry where something desperately needs to change with a lot of these awful practices. But for the 10 millionth time in the last 2.5 hours, it was just about him having this awareness that his coverage did mislead people. And that he, maybe not maliciously or anything, misunderstood or misrepresented Stop Killing Games in numerous instances. And the way that he talked about Ross was unacceptable. That at least made it into the tweet there about the way he talked about Ross being like a fucking used car salesman type deal and like calling everything about it ass. He at least recognized that that was too harsh. So he gave a quick I'm sorry for that, which is good. I do appreciate that, and I'm sure Ross will appreciate that as well, I imagine. But I still wanted to make this video after the conversation because I just really do not understand. I truly cannot wrap my head around why he fights tooth and nail coming for throats for anyone that tries to mention that there was misrepresentation in his coverage of the Stop Killing Games initiative. He is so hell-bent on proving he's right and everyone else is wrong that's saying these things.
But why is he so mad about like... Does he even say anything positive about the movement or whatever? I don't get it. Like, why is he so against it? Like, I understand being against the thing you think it stands for in that particular part, but why is he so against the whole thing? Like, okay, you know, chat, I'm gonna say what is it. I'm gonna say it. He's like a game dev Andy or something like that. He saw an opinion or some shit that was wrong in chat. He got rage baited into an argument, and he cornered himself into making it so that the argument is an X, which doesn't apply to this. And he went full on this tired of complete dog shit to berate this guy because he's so much above. Now to prove him, guys, he did my strat, but my strat is just rage bait. Surely, guys, I would never do that. I would never do that intentionally, guys. I do that for the views because it's my style. It's my strategy. I'm not actually like that. So you can put that aside. I would never do something like that, yo.